Good morning. Glad you could join us. Thanks for tuning in. Hey, I want to share something out of Psalm 55, but also some stuff from the Apostle Peter. How many of you are good at worrying? Oh, man, over the last 3.5 years, I'm thinking I've probably mentioned that as much as anything else in Words of Hope. Why? Because we're pretty good at worrying. As a matter of fact, I know someone, friend of mine, on Facebook. There's this term we use, I call it Christianese. We have these different terms, but it's a prayer warrior. It's a person who's just like fighting in prayer and just is like you want to bring your prayer requests to them. But on Facebook, they actually said a prayer warrior. It's like, oh no, that's the opposite. But the psalmist, David, writes Psalm 55 and he says, "Listen to my prayer, O God. Do not ignore my cry for help." You crying out for help today? Let God know that you need something from Him today. As a matter of fact, in Psalm 55, verse 22, it says, "Cast your burden on the Lord," or give your burdens to the Lord. Give them to the Lord. Some people, it's kind of like they drive this dump truck, and it's like, I got all these burdens. And they go through the motions. They back up the truck. They pull the lever. It goes like this, the dump truck, but they never open the flap in the back. And they drive away with all the burdens that they had to begin with. Sometimes we think that the people in the Bible, they were immune from worry. Do you think David was? No, there's no way. This is a Psalm of David. What did he have to worry about? Oh, well, he had Saul trying to kill him. He had other people, Goliath. He had lions and bears and things like that. He had problems. He had all kinds of things to worry about. Sometimes we picture them with their halos on. They didn't have halos. But now, New Covenant, we've got Peter. And Peter actually says in 1 Peter 5:7, he says, "Cast all your anxieties on Him because He cares for you." Well, James Montgomery Boyce points out, well, why would he say that? Maybe because Peter was a worrier. Oh, no. He wasn't a worrier. How about when Jesus is walking on the water and Peter says, "Hey, if it's you, just like you invite me, I'll come out there." As soon as he gets out there, he's walking on water. Oh, I would love to do that. But he starts to sink. Why? Because he's focusing on the wrong thing. And then he has to cry out, "God, Jesus, save me." And Jesus does. And we laugh at him, but the other 11 disciples are still sitting in the boat. They didn't have the courage to say, "Lord, if it's you, bid me to come to you on the water." What do you worry about? Are you focused on the water? Are you focused on the waves, on the wind? So back to the Psalm. There's some good stuff in here. Is it escapism to cast your care? No, it's the opposite. You're dealing with the God who created the universe. God created you with a soul, and He created your soul to connect with Him. Just think about that for a moment. I read that in a book this morning. That is the purpose of your being. That's why a lot of this other stuff just doesn't satisfy. But we read on in the Psalm, and it says, He will never let the righteous fall. It says that in verse 22. Oh, now, does that mean that nothing bad ever happens? I'd word it more this way. Sometimes we go down, but we get back up. God gives us the grace to get back up, so we don't need to worry. If my life has taught me anything, have there been perils? I love in Amazing Grace where it says, "Through many dangers, toils, and snares, I have already come. 'Tis grace that brought me safe thus far. Grace will lead me home." I won't lead myself home. I can't do it, but God's grace is sufficient. And then the bottom line, the very last verse, after he talks about what's going to happen to some people who don't trust in God. And I hate to say it, I never like to focus on the negative, but there are people that don't trust in God. There's people that ignore God. Their story's not going to end well, folks. And we need to be mindful of that. But if you know Christ is your Savior, if you've put your trust in Him, the very bottom line, the very last phrase in this psalm, "I am trusting you to save me." Save you for heaven, but also from the troubles that you're in now. Cast your cares upon Him because He truly does care for you. God bless you. Have a great day.